again, you talk about leading by example and just absolutely dragged us through certain games, didn't he? Absolutely dragged us through every single week, certainly in those 2 seasons.
We were doing the Sam Morsy reaction the other day, Dave. It was me, Rich, and Joe, and we were sort of discussing what we talk about. And it came up. Oh, why don't we rank where Morsy comes? We could do like a top. Let's stop. Let's get out my bat light. Put the bat signal up for David Diamond. We said stop, and then we banned anyone from talking about it in the show. So, Dave, you are here in your ITFC historian capacity to rank the top 10 captains. Are you nervous?
No, not really. I mean, a slight caveat. So top 10 captains, we tried to keep it as reasonably modern era as possible. So this is from the Robson era onwards. So I know there's people out there that would have seen the brilliant, obviously, side under Alf Ramsey, the championship winning side, top division championship winning side as it was then. So yeah, obviously Andy Nelson, people like that would have obviously been in for a shout, but this is from the Robson era onwards.
I love how we refer to the Robson era as modern when it like starts.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, okay, yeah. Post 1969.
Yeah, there you go.
That's 50 something years. Yeah, crikey.
Right, let's be clear about a couple of things before we go in. So I've got Dave's back on this. Obviously, completely subjective. And please, guys, we are judging the captains, not the teams that they played in. Not the ability of the individual player. We're judging the captain. So just wrap your head around the fact that player A could be a much worse player than player B, but a much better captain. But with that being said, Dave, what in your opinion makes a great captain? And we're about to talk about 10.
It's just leadership, really, isn't it? I think it's leadership. I think consistency, leadership. Yeah, I think, and respect of his fellow teammates, fellow players. I think, and yeah, let's face it. You know, the captain is a bit of a cliche. Is the manager's, as soon as they step over that line, is the manager's right hand man. So yeah, very much sort of fairly simple criteria, really. But to reiterate, yeah, it's very easy when I was looking through these you do get swayed on players' ability, and obviously my era and eras and stuff like that. But yeah. Hopefully, people will be generally in agreement. Well, hopefully they're not, 'cause it's subjective. Then that's what we want, really, isn't it? I guess. But
you can please some of the people some of the time. I mean, but with that being said, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, mate. Can
I just say, last year when we ranked the Ipswich managers, I think I had some hate email when I put Alf Ramsey above. No, I didn't. Bobby Robson. But like I said, very much subjective. So as you said at the start, let's put that out there.
Yeah, completely subjective. You can check back that rankings video in the archives. Just play along with us right now. And remember, we can see in our analytics if you've edited your comment. Why don't you put your top 10 in now? So hit pause if you want to play along, or at least your top 3 or your top 5 Ipswich captains. Stick them in the comments right now. Give us a thumbs up while you're there as well. See if you agree with Dave. Although, as he says, if you disagree with him, that's fine. It's all a good debate here. In at number 10, Dave, George Williams.
Number 10, Geraint, bracket, open brackets, George, close brackets, Williams. Yeah, signed from Derby just before our the inaugural Premier League season in the close season of 1992. So signed for the 1992-93 season, and our inaugural captain in the Premier League. How can you describe George Williams? We'll give obviously a brief description of the player. Sort of central midfielder, diminutive, combative, always gave 100%, and was obviously captain through a sort of fairly transitional, really good, good first season of pretty much consolidation. We finished, I think, in the end, we finished sort of 16th, 17th, but we're up there competing very much in the top 6, 7 for a while that season. And then obviously the following 2 seasons, which weren't quite so successful, obviously avoided relegation by skin of our teeth in 93-94. Then obviously the disastrous 90. We all know what happened. Disastrous 94-95. But to be fair, kept the captain's armband George Burley. Led us to an important part, a really important part of consolidation there, consolidating in the was Division 2 then, wasn't it? Still Division 2 then, consolidating in the second level. And again, another player I think who had the total respect of the players, and a very good influence on some of the younger players. Ultimately, he was replaced in the team by Kieran Dyer, who I think was very much a mentor, a mentor too. Again, a little bit about his playing ability. Not the most prolific of goal scorers, I think it's fair to say, but a good solid captain, and had to include him in my top 10. Left Ipswich and retired. Basically retired. That was his final final club as a player, and retired. And I know lives locally still around here. So you're
not managing Colchester.
I'm sorry. Did he? I think actually he may well have got Colchester a bit. I think he did.
Yeah.
No, because he did. No, sorry, take that back. I think he was even playing manager for a time. I believe. I think he may have been for a time. So I do say, he did actually.
Yeah. Number 10, Gary Williams, and a guy who did it all was Jim Magilton at number 9. I mean,
Jim Magilton. What can you say? Absolute character. Signed from Sheffield Wednesday in 1999 after a brief spell on loan.
So who would have been captain when he signed, Dave?
That's a very good. I'll probably get to it. I'll probably get to it in a minute.
Okay, someone will be there then. Yeah.
Someone will be Someone will be shouting. Someone will be shouting that. Someone will be shouting that to me in a minute. So it'd have been 99. So you're talking
Mowbray.
Well, those initial, possibly those initial playoff. Those initial playoff seasons. Maybe not for long. I mean, what a basically what a leader. What a leader. What a leader on the pitch. Obviously a very brief spell as captain, pretty much a little over a season or so, replaced by someone who I will get to shortly. But as we know, a really strong character on the pitch, subsequently going to be our manager a few seasons later. And very much led by example, very much as we know, high standards, and really drove the team along. Really, both really as captain, and then latterly when he perhaps wasn't, when he perhaps wasn't skipper, again, led by example, and certainly a player respected by all. Came from a really good background, started in Liverpool's academy. So a really. And
Dave, some of these captains. They have the leading by example on the pitch, and then maybe they're a little bit quieter vocally. But he had both, didn't he? Take the ball, but he would talk everyone around the game.
Very much. The first number 10, Geraint Williams, very much perhaps the opposite. Very much Geraint Williams, quiet, almost seemed to be quiet, efficient, went about his business. Jim Magilton, you knew he was about, certainly on and off the pitch. Yeah. So had to get him in there, and I will just, as I come to this, I will just say that entered into the Hall of Fame in 2000, and deservedly so in 2023.
To do the player, captain, manager as well is quite the achievement. Now, this one surprised me a bit, and it's before my time, but I always assumed that someone who we may be going on to talk about captained all of these teams, and it wasn't number 8, Paul Mariner, doing the job. Yeah, but was he captain as well?
Yeah, very briefly after someone else who I will get to eventually. No spoil after he left. Again, it's very similar to Magilton. Obviously, his playing career speaks for itself at Ipswich. What is it? 339 games, 135 goals. That speaks for itself. England player, played at World Cups, etc. But again, a real leader, very, very much a strong character. I must admit, I like my captains generally. I don't really generally prefer captains, I think, to be centre backs, perhaps midfield players, spine of the team as a striker. But no, you can understand why at the time, perhaps the club was going through certainly going through a change with players' contracts up and players leaving. And to be fair, he was subsequently usurped as captain because he was agitating for a move, but obviously wanted away, and eventually did pretty much move away simultaneously when John Walk moved away. But what an absolute strong character. Again, everyone that played with him looked up to him, respected him. Had to have Mariner in there.
Now, when you talk about leadership, here comes number 7, Terry Butcher. Wow.
Again, I mean, just what can you say? What can you say about Butcher? So there's a little bit of a sort of segue here. Really took over the captaincy when Mariner left, and I think the thing about Butcher, describe Butcher, warrior, courageous, but loyal. I think is a really good word to use for Butcher. When the great side, he was an England international by the time the great side started to break up. He was played at the World Cup in 80. Played at the World Cup in 82, so regular under Robson as England manager. Took over the captaincy, and again, I use that phrase, led by example. Absolutely, talk about centre uncompromising centre back. Had the respect of, obviously, look at his career. Had the respect of everybody around him, certainly at the club. It showed great loyalty, really. In those transitional seasons when the great side broke up, he stayed loyal throughout 82, 83, 83, 84, 84, 85, had offers to leave, but stayed. And I think, has gone on record to say, would have loved to have finished his career at Ipswich, but obviously when the inevitable happened, relegation in 86, 85, 86 season, club needed the money anyway, and he left, I think, for something like $750,000 and went to Rangers, and obviously had great success up there, and subsequently then went on to play for England in the 99, famously in the 1990 World Cup. But again, as a captain, absolute beast, really, and really dragged that team, in those years, those sort of 83, 84, 84, 85, and only just missed out. Only just narrowly got relegated in 85, 86. Really dragged the team through it himself, and unfortunately picked up a bad injury, I think, in 85, 86. I missed some of that season, but single-handedly, we've got the famous thing when ultimately we were pretty much relegated after defeat at West Ham, penultimate game of the season, debatable penalty, and so he subsequently goes in the West Ham the old Upton Park changing rooms, apparently kicks the door off the dressing room hinges. I mean, that was the sort of that's the sort of character and the passion that Butcher had. So absolutely had to have him in there.
And at number 6,
and also I will just add to all these, unsurprised he entered into the Hall of Fame in 2010.
Rightly so. Number 6, we've got to go to Canada, Dave.
We have
Jason DeVos.
Yeah, and I'm also trying to sort of rate these kind of on success, the kind of relative success that they had at the time they were captain. So DeVos signed from Wigan. I think he was Wigan's captain the season before and led them from League One to the Championship. So it was kind of surprised. I think obviously he was out of contract, and we got him. And I mean, what an absolutely brilliant signing that was. Again, uncompromising, big centre half, led by example, didn't miss many games, and drove the team through games. Certainly, you remember that 2004-05 season when we should have been up and absolutely forgot. Absolutely led by example through that. And again, another captain. Just absolutely respected and and the younger players coming through. Then, like the Ambroses, the Bents, and players like that, just absolutely was a shining example to all. Good player, Jason DeVos, and subsequently gone on to work in the media. I think currently he's assistant coach at Toronto, or he was, I believe. And again, another one entered into the Hall of Fame in 2019. 179 appearances, 11 goals. Didn't miss many games, Jason DeVos did. He didn't miss. But another captain, a proper strong character.
So he would have been around at the same time as Magilton, but was chosen to be the captain, right?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. exactly. So imagine managing, having to captain someone like Magilton. You need to be a pretty strong character. But as I said, I think Magilton very much was a vice captain as such.
He didn't need the armband, did he?
Nah, not at all, not at all. So yeah, pretty good move that probably by Joe Royle. But good, yeah.
And it probably speaks to a bit what you're saying about the further back on the pitch you can have the captain. Probably for Joe Royle, the better in terms of you'd rather have a centre back than a central midfielder. Maybe.
I think so. I honestly think so. But obviously got a bright guy. Went on to do really well in the, really well in the media and sort of football in general. But as I said, I think last time I looked, I think he's assistant coach at Toronto. And again, as I said, entered in the Hall of Fame in 2019.
Okay, that's 10-6. At number 5, in a minute, you'll find out who it is after a word from our show partners at Atwell.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thanks to the wonderful people over at Atwells. We're going to move on. Top 10 Ipswich Town captains. Number 6 was Jason DeVos. Number 5, star of the Blue Monday live show.
It's got to be
number 5. Let me announce it, Dave.
Go on.
Luke Chambers.
Yeah, had to be. I had to put Luke Chambers up there. In a reasonably high position. Again, I mean, what a character! What a strong character. Could be, and you hear about his playing. You realise about his playing ability and quite adaptable. Ultimately converted centre half to right back. Okay, whether that was right or wrong, whatever. Captain Town in a tough time. Talk about transitional time.
This is where you don't judge the team that he played in, and in some ways, he had a much harder job than anyone else on this list.
Do you know what? Absolutely, and it was almost pushed to including perhaps one spot higher. But again, what a servant to the club. Nigh on 400 appearances, 19 goals. As I said, pretty much a converted centre back to right back. So originally signed by Jewell, appointed captain by McCarthy when Mick McCarthy came in, and just Ipswich through and through, really, wasn't it? In a really difficult time. Treading water in that sort of Marcus Evans era to a bit, although was skipper in 14-15 when we lost in the playoffs. But other than that, precious little success during that period, and he was the one. He's got him a shining light just for his really consistency and his dedication to the cause, really, because it was a tough time. But obviously, ultimately ended up with relegation to League One in 2000.
Pandemic as well.
And absolutely, forget about that, and the pandemic as well. And as we know, I had great respect. All the players, we've spoken to players that played under Luke Chambers. Great respect from them all. Obviously, affectionately referred to as most are, but Skip, obviously. And he spoke really eloquently at our Blue Monday live show, and what came out of that was his ultimate passion for the club. And he'd like to think at some point one day perhaps there would be a role for him back at the club. Absolute gold, really. Players like that in that era for us was just he was just absolutely incredible, really. And as I said, absolutely had the respect of all the players and more importantly the trust of the manager, certainly Mick McCarthy.
Yeah, I learnt a lot doing the and watching the interview Mikey did with him at the live show, but particularly now with his TV work, charisma as well, being able to hold a room, being able to talk to people and teammates, and you kind of meet him, and you're like, okay, I get it. I see. There's something about you as a person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just a thoroughly decent bloke, a thoroughly good bloke as well, which is important. And you'd think surely at some point a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame somewhere down the road. Surely. Left club in 2021 and had spent the twilight, you could call it twilight of his career at Colchester down the road at Col U. But yeah, had to include him. I had to include
where he became the captain, and he said at the live show, he was like, "Right, I'll come, but I'm not going to be the captain."
Where he ultimately became captain, and let's face it, captain a fair few of his ex teammates. But yeah, absolute great guy, and like I said, hopefully, certainly a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame at somewhere down the line. You would have thought.
Number 4. David Linnigan.
Yeah, I mean, again, another. I mean, which seems to be perhaps this is in football, and another, big, uncompromising, dominating centre back. Originally signed by John Duncan from Shrewsbury in 1988. Ultimately, went on 327 games, 13 goals. Made captain under John Lyall, and obviously led us to the in old money the second division title in 1991, 92. Already touched on, we were inaugural members of the Premier League, but led us into that. Again, a bit like DeVos, tough, uncompromising. Gave everything for the cause, and again had the respect of all around him. I think apparently a real character off the pitch as well. I think he was a bit of a farmer at heart, wasn't he? I believe a bit of a country lad as well. So yeah, quite an interesting character, I think. But again, initially quite a transitional period under Lyall in that sort of first season or so, and then 91, 92, and then obviously our first captain in the played and captain briefly in the Premier era as well.
And then that was passed on to George Williams, yeah.
George Williams, yeah. But just when I think of David Linnigan, it's just what's the good phrase? No frills really about him, was it? He went about his business.
Very much like DeVos, who you were describing, yeah.
Absolutely, very much like DeVos. But yeah, I think again another Hall of Famer. I think. I think I've got it here. Entered in the Hall of Fame in 2022 and left Ipswich following relegation. Left Ipswich for Blackpool in 1995.
And here's the one you've all been waiting for. The reason that we're making this video, and he's going to come in at number 3.
Well, like
Sam Morsy.
Very subjective. And you'll realise when you're hearing it, obviously, perhaps it gives it away hearing number 2 is, but very, very close between the two. You're almost choking up. Sam Morsy, what can you say about the guy? What can you say? Incredible. Signed in 2021 by Paul Cook, having played under him at Chesterfield and Wigan as well. Yeah, Wigan. And I remember Cook saying at the time, didn't we have I don't know if you what game it was when a Paul.
Yeah, Joe mentioned this.
When a really poor was it
Bolton, was it
5-2 Bolton? And I remember afterwards, I think we were just on the cusp of Simon Sam. No, or was he suspended?
He was suspended.
He was suspended. I remember Paul Cook's comments in the presser after that saying, "That doesn't happen if Sammy Morsy plays. That result just doesn't happen." You think, come on, really? And absolutely, he was absolutely right. Pretty much immediately made skipper. Retained as captain. What a relationship he's had with Kieran McKenna. Obviously missed out on the playoffs in that first season, 2021, 22, but then skippered us through. I mean, just when you think about it, incredible. Skippered us through runners up in League One in 22, 23, and Championship 23, 24, and I mean, he just, again, you talk about leading by example and just absolutely dragged us through certain games, didn't he? Absolutely dragged us through every single week. Certainly in those 2 seasons, Morsy 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, every single. The levels of consistency incredible. And again, you can just tell, and you can tell by the comments that are coming out now, utmost respect of all the players, and very much incredibly trusted by the manager. And good luck. He doesn't owe Ipswich. He doesn't owe Ipswich Town anything. Good luck. Good luck to the guy. And it's great that if he has got this, which looks like it's happened, this move over to Kuwait, absolutely fantastic for him. At the end of his career.
And I think Rich was mentioning this on the show we did the other day. Maybe most similar to Butcher in terms of the looking after his club, and do you want to fight? Okay, come through me first. Yeah, absolutely
brilliant. He's just been superb and improved as a player. I mean, we're not judging this on player, but as a player in those seasons, I said 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 every single week. He's been absolutely superb. And look, I think would have all loved him to what hopefully will be a successful season this coming season. I think would have all loved him to been around if he wasn't a permanent starter, been around with his influence around the club. But look, it's not to be. And as I said, I'm sure he goes with people are gutted to see him go because it is an end of an era. But he goes with all good wishes from everybody and love from everybody. More importantly, really, just absolutely outstanding. And the fulcrum of those two sides. And look, captain last season for us in the Premier. Struggled in certain games as the team invariably did, but there were certain games where he was still our best player.
There we go. So I think from what you're saying, Dave, this might have been a bit of a coin flip between number 3 and number 2, and I'm sure pretty much everybody can guess now what the top 3 is going to be. But you've gone for the great Matt Holland at number 2.
I mean, Matt Holland. What can you say about Matt? Matt Holland never missed a game. I mean, he's just absolutely incredible. Joining Bournemouth for all of them was a pretty big fee. 800,000 in 1999. Having come through the West Ham academy back then. West Ham.
He gets mentioned in that famous clip of Harry Redknapp getting called out about Frank Lampard.
I'm trying to think. The other guy's a lad called Scotty Canham, he said. Yeah. That is a classic where Frank basically...
He lays it all out, Redknapp, doesn't he? But Matt Holland's mentioned there as the reason he didn't get maintained at West Ham. Frank Lampard. You can take that, can't you?
Yeah, I think you can take that. Captain the team in 2 unsuccessful playoff attempts, and then just captain fantastic was his skipper in that finally the 99-2000 season when we got over the line in the playoffs at Barnsley. And look, we've all got great memories of him that day, holding up the championship playoff trophy at Wembley. Just absolutely superb. But again, what a leader, what an example. Quite again, someone hardly ever booked, barely booked, just went about his business, quiet, efficient. And again, captain alongside him in centre mid, Jim Midgilton, the big, massive character. But Midgilton would say, massive respect for Matt Holland, absolute top footballer, top captain, top gentleman, really. And no surprise, he's gone on to, what he's gone on to do the media. And again, I think pretty well publicised from him. Another player who would quite happily have finished his career at Ipswich, but for relegation and the financial turmoil that came with it, really, in that after relegation in 2001, 2002, fair play, stayed for the 2002-03 season. We didn't get up, we didn't get back. Obviously, we didn't get back, and was part of the, I guess, kind of start of the fire sale, really, when he went to Charlton. But I mean, what can you say, Matt Holland? What a player, what a leader, inspirational.
Hey, was he doing the laps with Jason Cundy? Was that before he was captain? Because I think the fans loved that, didn't he?
I think it was. Yeah, of course
he would go all the way around and applaud all 4 sides of the ground. Him and Jason Cundy would do it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, Jason Cundy. Yeah, again, another big character. But 223 consecutive. It's mad, isn't it? In that position.
Well, and it just wouldn't happen now because he'd be rested, wouldn't he?
Well, you would. The squad size would be huge. He'd be rested. 49 appearances for Ireland, played and scored in the 2002.
Captain?
So yeah, I think he perhaps was at some point.
Oh, then wouldn't Roy Keane have been the captain for all of those, though?
But you'd think perhaps you had the odd game at captain, perhaps. Currently an ITFC ambassador and more latterly a director, and unsurprisingly entered into the Hall of Fame in 2014. But yeah, I mean. Well, I mean, Sam Morsy and Matt Holland. It was a coin flip because of the incredible, Yeah,
why did you put Holland ahead of?
I'll tell you, I think I put Holland just purely because 5th in the Premier League. Purely, really, that was the coin flip bit for me. Led us into the Premier League, and captain the side that finished 5th. Just bonkers, absolutely bonkers, really. That purely on that was what just edged him, but it was a fag paper's width between him and Sam Morsy. I want to reiterate that again, really.
And that's why we're making this video, to just kind of really, rubber stamp where Morsy does stand
and just
in the pantheon of Ipswich captains.
Absolutely right, and as I said about Luke Chambers, going back to Sam Morsy, absolute shoe-in for a Hall of Fame, shoe-in for the Hall of Fame somewhere down the line. Absolutely incredible. But those two, I mean, there is only one. Look, my sort of age and my era and stuff, but it goes without saying, there's only one person that could ever usurp them, really.
And that person is Mick Mills.
Yeah, I mean. Blimey, Mick Mills. Look, I suppose you are perhaps.
Go on, let me play devil's advocate. Are you beholden because of just the greatness of the player and the team? Yeah, it must skew you a little bit, mustn't it? He's an England player, England captain, playing in the best team.
Of course it does, but again, captain. I mean, the longevity of the guy. Captain from assume the captaincy, probably not far from Matt Holland actually, age-wise, at 21. Assumed the captaincy under Robson at 21, and was Robson's literally right-hand man, lieutenant, whatever you want to call him, for 12, 13 seasons. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Of great success. Joined the club. I mean, our good fortune, Portsmouth youth system famously folded back in 1966, I think. So joined us in the close season then. Was a player, not a captain. Was a player in the 67-68 promotion winning side, and established himself in the team sort of season later in the first season back in the top tier. So what had that been, 68-69, and then famously assumed the captaincy as a result of the big Bobby Robson falling out, the much publicised falling out and fight with Billy Baxter at the time, and Tommy Carroll as well, Bill Baxter at the time. So assumed the captaincy really 1970-71 season, when he was like 21. And I mean, again, talk about model of consistency, really, just right the way through the 70s and obviously the early 80s. So all the success, the teams, the 3 great teams that Robson built, skipper them all through that success. So to the runners up in the league in 74, 75, cup semi-final, the brilliant cup winning side in 77, 78, and ultimately the UEFA Cup winning side in 80, 81, runners up, skippered us 81, 80, 81, 82, 80, 81, third places, qualified for Europe. No, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I suppose you are swayed by the success, but that success was very much, led pretty much season after season by Mick Mills. And again, captain of some big characters at a relatively young age. So he's a 22-year-old captain in Alan Hunter, massive character. Kevin Beattie, these are all big. Paul and latterly Butcher, Mariner, captain them all, but had the absolute respect and subsequently, absolute respect of all. And I think all those young players that came through, like the Burleys, the Beaties, the Butchers, it just goes on. Gates, Osmonds, all of those players, absolutely all under Mills's leadership. And look, and as a player, I'm not even sure I don't think it's easy to overlook. I don't think I included in my all-time top 10. I'm sure I didn't, basically because of all the other players and perhaps the flair and everything else, but inspirational. And went on to say, captain England played for England 40 odd times, captain them at the 82 World Cup in Spain. Left. Yeah, it's quite sad again. Someone else, I think, who perhaps would have finished his playing career at Ipswich, but Bobby Robson went for the England job. Bobby Ferguson took over, and I think there was really the thought that perhaps Bobby Ferguson thought that perhaps Mick Mills was too big a character to perhaps have around. Let him go, and he still played another 100 games, I think, including almost, runners up or third or fourth in the top division for Southampton. Played another 100 games for them. Subsequently went on to manage, not surprisingly, not too without great success, Stoke and Birmingham, Cole, I think, for a bit, and famously would have liked to put his name forward for the job, I think, when John Duncan took over, but I think Stoke wouldn't. I think the Coates, the chairman of Stoke, wouldn't refuse permission at all.
It was Coates then.
I think it was.
He goes way back, doesn't he?
I believe it was. Refused permission to.
Still there today, by the way.
The Coates family certainly are. I think. But again, what an absolute inspirational. And again, a bit like Luke Chambers, could play. A bit of a conversion, could play right back, played left back for England, played left back for Ipswich, right back for Ipswich, equally two-footed, equally comfortable, and also did a job in midfield as well. So, when I know it's my era, and perhaps someone else of not my ilk picking this might have had a different, but you can't. From me, you can't look beyond that.
There we go. Those are David's. No, I'll say our Blue Monday with David on behalf of Blue Monday. Top 10 Ipswich Town captains. So number 10, Gareth Williams. Number 9, Jim Magilton. Number 8, Paul Mariner. Number 7, Terry Butcher. Number 6, Jason DeVos. Number 5, Luke Chambers. Number 4, David Linnigan. Number 3, the reason we are here today, Sam Morsy. Number 2, Matt Holland. And number 1, Mick Mills.
Should just add to Mick Mills, again, I think it must have been, someone will shoot me down, must have been the inaugural Hall of Fame in 2000. And if it wasn't the inaugural one, must be one of the first ones in 2007. MBE in 1984. And now, obviously, quite well known as a match summariser down at Portman Road.
And let us know if you did hit pause earlier in the video when I suggested, did you have the same top 3 as Dave? Do you have Holland above Morsy? Where do you have Morsy? Have you got anyone in there that Dave hasn't got in there? Let us know all of that down there in the comments. Final thoughts from you on the top 10 Ipswich captains, DD?
I just like to say, look at those captains. Spoiled, haven't we? Look at that. You put out the top 3. Obviously, it's very much. I think it's very much a generational thing, and you are swayed by who you've.
Sure.
There's a lot of our listeners, subscribers won't have seen Mick Mills play.
Oh, Dave, Marcus Stewart will forever be my favourite.
Oh no,
we could sign Erling Haaland tomorrow, and Marcus Stewart will forever be my favourite.
That's how it
locks in, doesn't it? Yeah,
and that's how it should be. Quite rightly, that's how it should be. But no, as all these, I really enjoyed. And I guess there should be some. I won't do because you could go on forever with honourable mentions and stuff. But I think that's I'm pretty pleased with that, I think. And
so you should be. If you want to hear about the friendly that took place, with a double half friendly with 2 different teams yesterday, and the latest transfer stuff, we're just going to hold on, because we are expecting possibly some news in the next couple of days that Craig and Joe, I think, are going to talk about in midweek at some point. Remember, we're kind of beholden to the news cycle before we go back to our lovely weekly routine when the season starts. But Dave, just quickly, I'm sure the audience would be pleased to hear from you about it. How are you feeling 3 weeks out? Still, the bookies' favourites to win the EFL Championship 25-26.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's no secret. We need a couple of additions. I think we do need a couple more, as famously Jimmy would say, in the building. I think that goes without saying. But when you look at the squad and you look at the two teams that we put out yesterday, and certain comments, and those players we signed last season, the likes of Philogene, the likes of Greaves, the likes of Clark,
Smodics.
I'm sorry, 30, 29 goals, Sammy Smodics. Sorry, didn't even left him out. I mean, we should be fine, but it will be, it's a 46 game season, as we know, and we probably do need one or two more bodies. In fact, quite goes without saying, I think certainly another front man, and I think with Morsy going, another central midfielder. But they would be the most important two. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, aren't we? What a great first game, first up live on Sky, Birmingham, who are seriously going for it, as we know.
I reckon if you go and stick 10 grand on Birmingham, I reckon they'll be favourites fairly soon. The amount of money that's been piled on that lot, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, I think everyone's looking to it with excitement. It's just been. Well, hopefully, it's just going to be nice to win a few games again. I think, last season it just got tough, didn't it? Even on the podcast, and we try to put it in perspective every week, which I think we did. We always like to think we're balanced, but the quality we came up against was just, yeah. So let's see. But no, I think like everybody else, I'm more than quietly confident. I think, but certainly needed one or two new additions. And yeah, the Amari Hutchison situation. If he is, let's get that sorted soon.
Get it done.
So yeah, absolutely. Look, it'd be great if it did string out to the end of the transfer window, and we still had him for those first few games. That would be absolutely.
Oh, Dave,
brilliant.
I'd rather have the money now, mate.
But you're probably
for
right,
2 games.
Yeah, perhaps I'm being a bit. Yeah, true. Is he going to be totally? Oh, he's professional. Is he going to be totally committed, knowing that a move's in the offing? So yeah, you're more than right, probably. But yeah, it's what we well, and you're right with 3 weeks to go. Yes, if he does go, you're quite right. If it is going to happen sooner or later. Get the money in. Hopefully, be able to. But who are you going to spend it on? I mean, it's tough. It's tough. But I think we should have more than enough.
We should. Yeah, fingers crossed. Right. Thank you for joining me, Dave. Always enjoyed doing the look backs with yourself, and we should be hearing, like I say, beholden to the news cycle from Joe and Craig in midweek at some point, and we will bid you a fond farewell, and it'll be 2 weeks, and then it'll be 1 week, and then we will go into Blue Monday season 11. Imagine that. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Cheers. Give us your thumbs up, 5 stars on your podcast machines, and we'll see you when there's cause to see you.